Tuesday, Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa. Too much to talk about today. But of course, okay, I'm sure you are gloating right now. Manchester United lost yesterday. And you're going to take your bites at me. I'll give you time to do it. Now, Seun Ajidagba is on the phone, who happens to be a Man U fan too. So you're going to have all the fun in the world today, Abi?
No, not really.
Seun, welcome on the show.
Yeah, good morning. It's a pleasure joining you.
Welcome. Now, Super Eagles captain Ahmed Musa has linked up with his teammates in camp ahead of the 2021 African Cup of Nations. Musa arrived at team's camp in Abuja on Monday afternoon. Fifth Karagog of Turkey forwards arrival increased the number of players in camp to 14. More players are expected in the team's camp before their departure to Cameroon. The players and their officials are expected to leave for Garoua, Cameroon on Wednesday. 14 players are still expected in the Super Eagles camp, and they will begin their AFCON campaign against Egypt at the Rumde Agia Stadium on January 11th. They will also face Sudan and Guinea-Bissau in other Group D fixtures. The 14 players in camp: Francis Uzoho, Daniel Akpeyi, John Noble, Maduka Okoye, Moses Simon, Sadiq Umar, Chidozie Awaziam, Zaidu Zanusi, Peter Olayinka, Olisa Nda, Taiwo Awuni, Chidera Ojuke, Henry Onyekuru, and Ahmed Musa. Let me start with you, Seun Ajidagba. Now, let's look at the caliber of these players. Now, we have a few debutants who will be in that team. Of course, we've got Chukwueze, a debutant. We've got Aribo, who's a debutant, and many more debutants there. But let's look at the quality of the team against almighty Pharaohs of Egypt in the first match on January 11th.
Wale, let me just say that by this time next week, we will be just some hours to the first game against the most successful team at the African Cup of Nations, which is Egypt. And our training does not suggest a team that is serious. Our preparation does not suggest a team that wants to go to Cameroon and make an impression. As we speak, we have 14 players, like you rightly mentioned. Other serious nations have teamed up with their players, and Nigeria still has 14 that are yet to join us. Some are even saying we will join them in Cameroon, like Feran again for Venezuela. They are even hearing that Al-Shabaab are trying to take advantage of the same process that Saudi Arabia did with Manuel Dennis by saying the call of Sunday for join Italy. The question is, what are the Nigerian Football Federation doing? It's a shame that this kind of thing is happening. We saw what happened with Manuel Dennis. You know, the thing came late. The request came late. Whose job is that? Wale, we have known this federation to talk without action. We were almost going to be knocked out of the World Cup in 2018, the qualifier. Some persons did not know that Seun Ajidagba had picked up a yellow card in the second round against Swaziland, and also picked up a yellow card against Zambia, and he was not supposed to play that final game against Algeria. He played out a 1-0 draw, but TAP deducted 3 points and gave 3 goals to Algeria. These are things that some persons have lost their job. But you know, in the usual manner of the NFL, they keep talking. Wale, I am not confident at all. Despite having the likes of 1970 winners Sudan and Guinea-Bissau, there's nothing to suggest that Nigeria wants to go to Cameroon to make an impression.
Now, Mukael, luckily for us, Seun is on the phone right now. I remember vividly you and I were here, and Seun said he was very optimistic that the Super Eagles would qualify from that group. He said we might not win the Nations Cup, but he said we would qualify. Now, luckily Seun is here, and he's changing mouth now.
Well, it's a lot can happen in the world of sports, in the world of football.
What changed his mind now in a week?
I mean, the fact
Seun,
is...
what changed your mind in a week?
The fact is, the way everything is coming together, we've talked about yesterday. We talked about how Dennis. They called him up late, and Watford have used that.
Yes, he doesn't want to be an alternative.
Yes.
To anybody. He says, I'm not coming anymore.
Osimhen, who should be home resting, is now in the group, and he probably won't play, or even if he plays, he won't be able to play to at least 80% of efficiency. And what's the point of having a player who can't be at least 80% effective on the pitch, which will only create issues for other strikers? Eguavoen is obviously, I already held the position that we have no reason to expect anything positive going into this Nations Cup. With the way the whole Raw situation was handled, Eguavoen being a stopgap measure, who has admitted he's having sleepless nights thinking about how to set up the team for the competition. Many players still haven't shown up at camp, and some are even giving their version of when they will be available for us, the national team. We are having to wait hand and foot on them. It doesn't bode well for the reputation of the nation. It doesn't bode well for the authority of the coach, interim or not, and it doesn't bode well for how well we can do in the Nations Cup. And I've never been of the opinion that getting past the group stages was guaranteed.
Now, Seun, what changed your mind in 1 week? This time last week, you were saying that you were optimistic the Super Eagles would qualify from that group. However, you were not sure, you cannot beat your chest and say they will win the Nations Cup. What changed your mind in 1 week?
Okay, so I still expect them to qualify from that group. You saw the friendly matches of Sudan. Sudan have not done anything since they arrived in Darua. So friendly matches are different from competitive matches. But if going by the friendly matches that Sudan have played, where they played 5 matches and considered about some 15 goals or 13 goals and scored just 2, you want to say that is not a good performance going into the Nations Cup. Then we expect ourselves to beat Guinea-Bissau. But Wale, look at our players. Joe Aribo did not play for Rangers. So what's stopping him from joining the Super Eagles? Everton have finished their game. Even when we know they lost at home. What happened that Iwobi has not joined us? Kelechi Iheanacho and Wicked Ndidi. He's not there to play. What stopped them from joining us? You know, Franco Luka, yes, you know, he has finished his match. But what is happening? It's a sharp contrast to what is happening to other countries. Sadio Mane and Edouard Mendy almost immediately took a private jet after the 2-0 there at Stamford Bridge. They team up with their players. The son of the Keita also leaves Liverpool to join up with Guinea. Other players have left. Mohamed Salah too has joined up with the Egyptian national team. What is happening? Why is our own difference? Samuel Chukwueze does not look like he's going to join up anytime soon. Yes, he played yesterday. And it seems as if these clubs are going against the FIFA rule that says release your players on or before the 3rd of January. What's happening? It's not adding up. And we always say that a team that plays together needs together. Where is the synergy?
Now, Seun, is it safe to say that Louis van Gaal, David Moyes, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and now Ralf Rangnick are not the problem? The players are the problem.
We cannot say that. It's a blend of the two. The coach and then the players. Honestly, Wale, if not because Ralf Rangnick is an old person, old enough to be my father, that pressure he gave, I was supposed to slap him. That was really unacceptable comment. First time Wolves will be beating Manchester United at Old Trafford since 1980. First time in 42 years. They also ended a run of 10 games at Old Trafford without a win. 3 draws and 7 defeats. And Yao Moutinho is now the oldest opposition player to score against Manchester United at Old Trafford. 35 years and 117 days. The passing record of the December. While that result was not a surprise. The only surprise was it ended 1-0. it should have been more. United were tepid, timid, abject, lethargic, blameless, and clueless. And you have to put that at the doorstep of the team. What formation are you playing? I think United don't need a coach. They need deliverance.
Do you agree with that, Mukail? Because honestly, obviously, every coach has come and tried his thing. We heard Lukaku saying, I don't like the coach's tactics. I don't want to hear that. However, different coaches have come with different tactics, and it's still the same Manchester United. And Seun says, as far as it's concerned, the team doesn't need a new coach, they need deliverance.
It's early days in Ralph Rangnick's reign, so obviously we know that the work ahead of him is monumental. He has to build a culture. He has to bring in the right players for the team, whether he's in the position still as manager or he ascends to the director of football role that is basically waiting for him. He has to change a lot of things in the team, and obviously a lot of dead weight needs to be moved out. The likes of Pogba, who are, even when they're fit, they're sitting on the bench, but they're problematic. He's a leader, but he's not leading the team on the pitch. The likes of Fred, who's occupying a defensive midfield position, but he's not quick enough, he's not strong enough, he's not tall enough, he's so many things not enough about him to be occupying that position for a team, a club, the stature of Manchester United. McTominay, in the last couple of games, I actually thought he has had more freedom to do what he's best at,
Exactly,
go forward
midfield,
and put pressure. I actually enjoyed some of the attacking phases of the match, and I thought the match could have ended 2-1. To Manchester United. Obviously, Wolves were ready to play. They were willing and hungry enough to go after the ball, which has not been something that they've been best at this season, given that they're top in defensive stats. But against Manchester United, I suppose they smelt a weakness that they could take advantage of, and they did. Moutinho's goal was very good, but it wasn't. It
couldn't have slipped by.
For me, it wasn't the definition of overwhelming pressure applied throughout the game. Manchester United had a bountiful amount of opportunities to win that game. I felt that Bruno Fernandes should have started earlier rather than Jadon Sancho, who gave away the ball enough times to have caused problems for Manchester United. Although Bruno did miss a fantastic opportunity, and there weren't a lot of good opportunities that came to Ronaldo or Cavani as they did in the previous match. So obviously the team is still working out its identity and how to create through attacking phases, how to get the final ball to the strongest striker in the best position to score. But like I said, early days, they will get there. I think Ralph Rangnick's tactical acumen will get them closer to where they want to be. The question is whether the culture will change. The arrogance of some of the players and the team, the work rate will increase, hopefully.
We don't know.
We'll see.
Now, Germany's Bayern Munich returned to training yesterday, a day later than planned, and missing 6 of their teammates. According to Bayern Munich, the FC squad training was delayed due to changes to the testing and hygiene measures in light of the current pandemic situation. All players, coaches, and backroom staff will initially undergo PCR tests on the morning of 3rd January. 6 players missed training due to testing positive for coronavirus. The club said positive players Manuel Neuer, Kingsley Coman, Corentin Tolisso, and Omar Richards were all doing well. Bayern also announced later on Monday that 2 more players, Lucas Hernandez and Tanguy Nianzua, had tested positive for the virus. All 6 players were in isolation. Now, Barcelona have unveiled new signing Feran Torres at Camp Nou, and the former Manchester City striker said he was ready to get going after being sidelined since October with a fractured foot. The striker signed a contract until June 2027 with a release clause of €1 billion. Financial details of the deal were not disclosed, but British and Spanish media reported Barcelona had agreed a transfer fee of around €55 million, with a further €10 million in add-ons. Torres returns to Spain after joining City from Valencia in August 2020 and made 43 appearances for the English top-flight side in all competitions, scoring 16 goals. Barca's attacking options were weakened further with the retirement of Argentine forward Sergio Kun Aguero at the age of 33 last month due to a heart condition. Seun, is Feran Torres worth this? A release clause of €1 billion. Is it worth that?
Well, there's nothing they can do. They are in a serious dilemma. Since the abrupt retirement of Ajidagba, they needed somebody to replace him. And they don't really have an out-and-out striker. Feran Torres also is not an out-and-out striker, but they needed bodies to join up to support a player like Memphis Depay. But the present situation Barcelona found themselves is not palatable at all. Yes, banks have borrowed them money, but they can't just spend money anyhow because of the salary cap. But for Feran Torres, the news I initially got, but his debut was going to be on January 12th. But let's wait to see how it pans out.
Okay, now former winners Serbia failed to make their advantage count after clinching the opening singles rubber, going down 2-1 to Chile in the ATP Cup yesterday. In the Group A tie, Filip Krajinovic put them ahead with a hard-fought 6-4, 3-6, 7-6, 5 win over Alejandro Tabilo. But Chile leveled the tie through Christian Garian, who was leading 4-6, 6-4, 3-love against Dusan Lajovic, while the Serbian number 2 was forced to retire with cramps. Chile completed the comeback when Tabilo and Marcelo Thomas Barrios Vera held their nerve to grind out a 6-4, 6-3, 10-7 win over Matic Samanov and Nikolas Kacic. They take on Norway on Wednesday. Okay, now let's look at the Ashes test right now. Now, while rising COVID-19 cases and rain will present logistical challenges to this week's fourth Ashes test, another limp performance from England will be a threat to the already damaged credibility of the iconic series. Without a single century or 5-wicket haul to their collective name in 3 heavy losses in the series to date, the tourists have only pride to play for when they take to Sydney Cricket Ground for day 1 on Wednesday. Now, Seun, England say they only have pride to play for tomorrow in Sydney. Cricket.
Mr. Joey should please shut up and focus on the task ahead. There has been an embarrassment at the Ashes series. They lost their first wicket, lost in Brisbane, lost in Adelaide, lost in Melbourne. Now they are going to Sydney before they finally end up at Hobart. The Ashes have been concluded. I just hope it doesn't end 5-0 like it happened in 2013-2014 when they lost 5-0. But for me, one thing that will make them happy with this is the leading run scorer in Travis Hedge has COVID issues. And so he's missing, but he should be back from 6-4. But in all honesty, England have played terribly bad.
Before I let Seun go, Mukail, quickly, England, Seun says the captain should just keep quiet. You've lost all of the series. It's almost done now. And he says you're only going to play for pride tomorrow in Sydney. Looking for a little elbow room at least, you know?
There's no pride in winning the last game of the series when you've already lost the series. Series of 5, you've lost 4 games. If this was a boxing match, the referee would have called it. If this was a football match with a 6 minutes injury overtime, the referee would have called it. This is just.
Yeah, but he said it right. Seun, like he said we are only going to play for pride.
Doesn't matter what he says. At this point, stop talking. Do the work. Whether you win, whether you lose, just keep your head down and do the work. Talking, giving interviews, trying to pep people up when we already know
you are down already.
You're down and out
Seun,
already.
thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Charlie.
Now, the defending NBA champions Milwaukee Bucks suffered a shock home defeat by the struggling Detroit Pistons yesterday. The Bucks were beaten 115 to 106. I'll leave you with that on the show today. Thank you very much, Mukail.
Always a pleasure.
Join us same time tomorrow, same station, Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa. My name is Wale Scott. Like I always advise you at the end of every show, if not for anything, at least for your heart, do some sports.